Good evening and welcome to our evening devotions. God continues by starting anew every time. The Lord continues unhindered to faithfully carry out what He has planned, year in and year out, month in and month out, day in and day out. Nothing and no one can stop Him. Yet He does not do this work impersonally, coldly and clinically. He involves man, whom He created as His image in carrying out His plan. Due to the fall, however, it seems that His plan with creation and the role that man plays was ruined. After all, the Lord could well, because of man's disobedience, completely eliminate him and in his continuation with his creation. And this was indeed the case when the consequences of the fall in the time of Noah became so evident that the Lord had to act. We read from Genesis 6, verse 5. The Lord saw how great man's wickedness on the earth had become, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the heart was only evil at that time. The Lord was grieved that He had made man on earth, and His heart was filled with pain. So the Lord said, I will wipe mankind whom I have created from the face of the earth, men and animals, and creatures that move along the ground, and birds of the air, for I am grieved that I have made them. And yet, precisely because God is faithful to His own plan and to His commitment to men, we read in the following verse, but Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Here we find a classic example of the Lord always starting anew. He had already done this right after the fall, when Adam and Eve tried to hide from Him, and He went to seek them out of His grace. And here it happens again. Man deserves total extinction, and consequently an end to God's plan with His creation. Yet God is merciful. He begins again by saving Noah and his family and renewing His covenant with them after the flood. From here it would be a golden line throughout the revelation of the Lord with man. He would reaffirm His progress through His people, and yet start anew with Abraham, with Moses in Egypt, with Joshua just before entering the promised land, and with Ezra after the return from exile. Eventually, He would begin anew with the coming of His Son, Jesus, to this world. On the basis of Jesus' work of atonement, He would continue His work by making a new beginning in the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, the Spirit with which He established the church into this world. Through the Spirit, He would always awaken new life in people who come to faith, and He will continue to work new life when people are growing in their faith. Inside this big picture of His continuation, we begin this year 2021. On the one hand, just another year, no more or less special than every year in the hand of the Lord, yet an unique year like no other before or after. A year that requires advanced planning and rethinking. He asks it of you as a believer, and therefore He asks it of us as His church. In the next few weeks, we will reflect on the continuing grace of the Lord and how He wants to make it new in our circumstances in 2021. We will focus on our worship to Him. We will focus on our living together as a community of believers, on the growth in the image of Christ. We will focus on our service to others and our task of spreading the gospel. Good night.